Alrighty, so this will be the People News. And taking a break from my studies and found a couple of things on YouTube that may help us in our search. Okay? Again, anything I say or do is just opinion. Okay? This is a learning video. Okay? Educational purposes only. Alright? Do as you wish. Alright? I have not know enough research, but I do know enough that he seems to be on the right track, okay, on my opinion, right? So I'm standing on arm length at the present time, okay? But remember, y'all, before the Bar Association came involved in our lives, how was we doing things before then, right? Now we got these civil rules of procedure and all this kind of stuff, right? But what did we do before they came incorporated in our lives? This may be an idea how we did things back in the old days.
Us in our round table. Thank you. My name's Kirk Pendergrass, and I'm an agent of E-Clause, created by Congress in October of 2017 as loss prevention for the government of the United States of America. How many people are familiar with loss prevention? How about the movie Office Space? Remember coming in there about them TPS reports and doing an audit? Okay, that's what we do. We're a defense contractor, and we're in direct opposition of the bar. We challenge the bar as a monopoly, and we can't license the practice of law. Christopher Hallett, CEO of E-Clause, he's out of Ocala, Florida, based on the executive order from Trump in March 14th of 2017, doing a complete audit of the entire executive branch, asked help from the people to report on any issues that we thought we had within our government. And we were given 6 months to do that. Chris picked up that challenge and said, okay, well, Chris worked in loss prevention in the private sector for 27 years at the time. So listening to other people here, what did Patrick Henry say? Give me liberty, give me death. And what about Edmund Burke, who says, the only thing for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. Where are the good men? And at this point, we'll take women too. Do you know how to read? Because reading actually means reading. And that's a joke behind that. John Gentry, one of our other cohorts in all of this stuff, he wrote an auditor's compilation report and added it to the practitioner's judicial report that went to President Trump and the United States Congress. 96.5% of pro se litigants' complaints were dismissed. He did an audit of 18 states. There were several other states that didn't respond to the request. So we got a serious problem. This is what the practitioner's judicial report was about. So the question was asked, where's loss prevention for the public sector? We have this word emolument. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8 of the Constitution of the United States of America. What is an emolument? Does anybody know? Raise your hand if you know what an emolument is. Nobody. Not even, well, maybe one over here that's been watching me for a few months. It's any advantage, profit, or gain received due to one's position of employment or holding of office. It's a paycheck. Attorney General Barr calls it a stipend attached to some office. The other type of an emolument is a subsidy. Those of you in the corporate realm know those two terms. As loss prevention, we're a defense contractor. We defend this, and we defend the people. And we make sure that we're not paying these people that are bound by this to trespass it. That's how we prevent the loss of our taxpayer dollars and the loss of our rights. So let's read from the Idaho Constitution. So we understand, and I mean understand as in stand under, stand in agreement. If anybody ever asks you, do you understand? That means you stand in agreement, not comprehend. but stand in agreement, you stand under. So there's some remedies from our rights, because rights are the law. Article 1, Section 1 is Declaration of Rights. We're laying down the law here. This is the law, not the code. Peterson versus Peterson, Idaho Supreme Court. Again, the Idaho Code is not law. CODE is not spelled LAW. They are not the same. Section 1, Inalienable Rights of Men. All men are by nature free and equal. So I have no power to tell you that you have to wear a mask. And this invokes the maxim of law. What I cannot do in my person, I cannot do through the agency of another. So if I can't do it, they can't do it. And those are servants. Servants do not dictate to their masters what their powers are, what their authority is, and what their duties are to perform. We write it down in writing what their duties are to perform. And it specifically says, and have certain inalienable rights, among which are enjoying and defending life and liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property. Our rights are our property. Property, one of the first definitions of property is an aggregate of guaranteed rights. We think, this microphone, we think this stuff is our property. That's not what property is. That's more like personal property. So we have the right to acquire, possessing and protecting property, pursuing happiness, and securing safety. This is the law that we retained by the people. But pay attention here. Number 2, Section 2, Article 1, Section 2. Political power is inherent in the people. All political power. All of it. Not a little bit of it, not some of it, not most of it. All of it. We have the power. They're servants. We instruct them. It's inherent in the people. Government is instituted for equal protection and benefit, and they have the right to alter, reform, or abolish the same whenever they may deem it necessary. Now listen to this part closely. And no special privileges. What are privileges? It's a business license. Licenses are privileges. Okay? No special privileges or immunities shall ever be granted that may not be altered, revoked, or repealed by the legislature. Okay, if we're going to claim political power, we're going to alter, reform, or abolish anything, including businesses that have policies that are contrary to this right that I'm going to share with you next. We have the right to revoke their business license. They're in violation of Article 1, Section 1 and Article 1, Section 4, the law, our rights. But notice it says we go to the legislature for that, not the judicial. Article 1, Section 4, guarantee of religious liberty. The exercise and enjoyment of religious faith and worship shall forever be guaranteed. Forever guaranteed. And no person shall be denied any civil or political right, privilege, or capacity on account of his religious opinions. You have the right to your own opinions. But listen to what it says next. But the liberty of conscience hereby secured shall not be construed to dispense with oaths or affirmations, or excuse acts of licentiousness or justify polygamous, blah, 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 blah. There's a bunch more stuff there. The part I want to reiterate is, but the liberty of conscience hereby secured. We go back to what I just said. The exercise and enjoyment of religious faith and worship shall forever be guaranteed. Okay, we have the right of conscience. Our conscience is our Constitution. This is the Constitution for government. Constitution is the internal dictates of your mind. Government is a figment of your imagination. So we take the internal dictates of our mind and the figments of our imagination, and we create a Constitution for government, while we retain our own right to our conscience, our Constitution. So Article 6, Clause 3 of the Constitution of the United States of America specifically states that everyone from the legislative branch, judicial branch, and the executive branch shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. How many of you are from a legislative branch, executive branch, or judicial branch?
No.
Not very many. I know there's a couple here. So that means none of this applies to you, and anything that's made underneath of it. That's why code is not law. If you're not receiving that stipend that's attached to some elected office or appointed into a position of public trust, you're not bound by this or anything that they make. I know that's contrary to popular belief, but it's the facts of law. So knowing that all political powers are inherent in the people, and we have the right to alter, reform, or abolish anything at any time we deem it necessary, and we go to the legislature for that, let's read Article 1, Section 10, right of assembly. The people shall have the right to assemble in a peaceable manner. What that actually means is we have the right to call them into assembly. Peaceably assemble to consult for our common good, to instruct our representatives, and to petition. What is a petition? A petition is a lawsuit. Just like Title 42, 1983, civil lawsuit, it started with a petition. But listen carefully. And to petition the legislature for the redress of grievances, not the judicial. This is Republican form of government where all power is inherent in the people, and we get to instruct our representatives to perform specific duties under their emolument. I'm going to jump to Article 1, Section 18. Justice to be freely and speedily administered. Courts of justice shall be open to every person, and a speedy remedy afforded for every injury of person, property, or character, and right and justice shall be administered without sale, denial, or delay. All right? Or prejudice, pardon me, that's the last one. The thing is courts of law and courts of equity are in the judicial branch. We establish justice in the big house. That's where everybody sits. That's the seat of government. That's where the House of Representatives, the Senate, the governor, the Attorney General, that's the big house. That's the court of justice, not the judicial branch. Like it was said earlier, that's our house. It's always open. I don't know if you guys know that. 24/7. You can walk into the state capitol anytime you want. We've all been dumbed down. We've been taught wrong. And this is where we have to have compassion for our fellow man, including our public servants, because we've all been taught wrong. But we need to read this and we need to follow this because this is the law of the land, which literally means due process of law. It is the process that is due. So if you're going to go after a public servant, or you want to alter, reform, or abolish anything, we go through the legislature. That's the process that is due. We don't go to the judicial branch. I do live shows. I've been doing shows on Facebook and YouTube, mostly Facebook. I started finally figuring out how to do broadcasts on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously. So I've been doing this since February of 2017 with my co-host, the CEO of E-Clause, before he was the CEO of E-Clause. So I've been with this man, working with this man side by side, sometimes on a daily basis, and many, many, many hours of reading books and the law, studying the law. And I've been studying law for about 25 years. I'm just a mechanic, just an electrician and a plumber. I've built houses. I work on computers, build computers, certified A+ hardware, software, networking systems. I'm just a regular guy, right? I'm not a member of the bar. I'm a real lawyer. Being a member of the bar has nothing to do with being a liar or an attorney. Lawyer is one who is knowledgeable on the law. One who speaks the law is a law sayer. That's what a lawyer is. It's a pronoun. All of those phrases put together mean lawyer. You get rid of the S and the A, and you have lawyer. Knowledge is power. You have to read the law. You have to comprehend it, and then you can understand it. An attorney is to attorn ye, to attorn you, to attorn. An attorn means to take from one man and give to another. You have to have a right to a cause of action to attorn your fellow man. If they cause damages to you, you have the right to take from them what is owed to you in damages. That's an attorney, and it's prosecuting attorney. And according to Wisconsin Constitution, Article 1, Section 20, everyone has the right to prosecute their own claims. According to Article, 6? Pardon me, amendment. It's actually articles. They're articles in addition to, you've been lied to again. We have the right to the assistance of counsel. It does not say we have the right to have a member of the bar represent us. We cannot be represented. We are ourselves. So, now, to let this little cat out of the bag, Governor Brad Little announced Wednesday last week that he was calling a special session. I happened to be on a particular phone call on Tuesday afternoon at noon. It's called the town hall meeting. And I asked Governor Brad Little this question, and I have the recording on my phone. I recorded the call. And I asked him specifically, why did you not follow due process of law in accordance with the Idaho Constitution, Article 4, Section 9? And call the legislature into a special session because you are exercising powers that properly belong to the legislature. It's in the Declaration of Independence, subjecting us to pretended acts of legislation, which is what Central District Health is doing, and is nothing more than a business like McDonald's. I've gathered quite a bit of evidence on these people. I'm getting prepared to file my petition, a lawsuit against Governor Brad Little, Central District Health. I've done the investigation. They have been embezzling $12 million a year. And this is just Central District Health for the 4 counties. I don't know about the rest of them, but I have their documentation. I also have their bylaws, which specifically state they only make rules and regulations for their meetings and for themselves. They don't have the power to order us around. Who are these people? And this is a prime example of what an emolument is and how it's an emolument's violation. Because we have county commissioners that are elected officials who are sitting on the board of this McDonald's corporation. Don't be fooled that it's called Central District Health. It's McDonald's. Just like McDonald's. They have a business license. They have articles of incorporation. They have their bylaws. The legislature is what creates the county government. They're claiming they're under the county government. But what we have is we have elected officials who are using their position of holding office as an advantage to sit on this board and pretend like they're government. They are not elected into that position. That emolument does not exist in our form of government. That is foreign to our form of government and repugnant to our law. So I encourage you to follow us, both Christopher Hallett and myself. He's my co-host on the show, Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday nights. We're teaching this stuff. We're trying to educate the people. We're trying to get people activated to stand up and follow due process of law and report. Because this is what President Trump said in his inauguration speech. He is putting the power back into the people's hands. What power is that again?
All the power!
All of it. We have the right to alter, reform, or abolish anything at any time we deem it necessary. But there is a process we have to follow. And we have that power to call them into assembly, to instruct our representatives to perform specific duties. Now, if you're going to get in there and do this stuff, pursuant to the House rules and the Senate rules, they use this book right here. It's called Mason's Manual of Legislative Procedure. I jokingly call this the guidebook for dummies for the legislature. So we have criminal rules of procedure, we have civil rules of procedure, we have probate rules of procedure, we have family law rules of procedure, but that's for the judicial branch. Now, myself, when Chris was doing a show with us and we started, it's actually 3 hours, 33 minutes, and 34 seconds. Kind of weird how that worked out, but as we were talking about how all this stuff does, this was in August of 2018. And he says, oh yeah, well we got these joint rules and stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about, joint rules and house? He's like, yeah, there's rules of procedure for the legislature. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I went and looked, sure enough, we have House rules, we have Senate rules, we have joint rules. And they declare that this is the book that they use. This is a very powerful tool. You gotta have the right tools to do the right job. And I can tell you that from speaking from experience as a mechanic, construction, computers, it doesn't matter what it is, you have to have the right tools to do the right job. And our founders talk about in the Declaration of Independence how they have petitioned and they had remonstrated and was only met with repeated injuries. So we're supposed to be a civilized society. We follow due process of law first. Then, second, we take up arms. So I'm pleading with you folks to read, comprehend this, learn this, watch my shows as I teach this stuff Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday nights. I'm here skipping the show tonight to be here to speak to you, and hopefully maybe we can get a few of you people together, and I'm wanting to add people's names as plaintiffs to the lawsuit I'm going to file. Okay? There's a gentleman over here that's been watching us for 3 months. He knows.
Sign me up.
He knows what's up. He's learning. Kirk's Law Corner, both Facebook and YouTube. Kirk's Law Corner. K-I-R-K, like Captain Kirk. Apostrophe S. Law, L-A-W, Corner. C-O-R-N-E-R. This is the remedy and the relief. Article 4, Section 4 was mentioned earlier. What kind of form of government do we have again?
Republic.
Come on, say it.
Republic.
It's a republic. And what does the preamble to the Constitution of the United States of America say again? We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. What is a union? A union is a league of friendship. A league of friendship is confederacy. Imagine that, we're a confederate republic. Not a democratic republic, not a representative democracy. We are a confederate republic, a league of friendship. What else does it say? Establish justice. We the people establish justice. Remember, all political powers inherent in people. Ensure domestic tranquility. What we're being subjected to is social control versus domestic tranquility. The right to pursue our own happiness and have our own conscience and think for ourselves. We're not a dictatorship here. Okay. The next one is to provide for the common defense. Promote the general welfare. We the people do all this, not government. And secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves. And do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. I'm going to read from Article 4, Section 4 real quick, and then I'm going to close out. Guarantee of Republican form of government against invasion. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a Republican form of government. Is it Republican in character or conduct for the governor not to follow due process of law?
No.
No, it is not. And shall protect each of them against invasion, and listen carefully, again, and on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. Now, we've all been led to believe that domestic violence has to do with family. Not what it means here. It means internal insurrection, an attempt to overthrow the Constitution and war against the people. We are being invaded and being subjected to domestic violence right now as we speak. And we are supposed to go to the legislature, and if the legislature cannot be convened, to the executive. You can thank President Trump for all the things that we've been working on behind the scenes with the Trump administration and creating everything that's going on right now. The Department of Justice, the Department of Defense, and the Secret Service. All of that's been taken over and put in place over the Federal Reserve. Under Article 4, Section 4, this is what they're put in place for. All we have to do is report on them. Criminal indictments, send them to prison. Go through the military tribunals, because they're under admiralty jurisdiction. We're under the common law jurisdiction, not admiralty.
Woo! Thank you.
there we go. Again, y'all, arm length, but according to me reading the Constitution and all that kind of stuff, he is speaking truth. Okay, y'all do your own research. Okay, and I showed a video back with Clerk Law Corner. Anyway, let me go through this. How to get to his YouTube is capital KIRKSLAW Corner CORNER ECLAUSE. Alrighty, so this was a video from an individual filming Kirk. Okay, so I thought, well, you know, before I lose this video, I may ought to record it for y'all to see and for y'all to make up your minds. This is We the People News. Bye, y'all.